Hi, Todd here with Lawson Screen and Digital Products, and today we're going to go over and learn how to use the Stouffer 21-step exposure calculator. It's a little strip that has 21 steps on it, leading from darker to lighter colors, and having one of these is essential in your screen printing shop to make sure that all your screens are properly exposed. Now, the way this exposure test works is we're going to expose this for a determined amount of time. And after we wash it out over in the washout booth, we should be left with 7 solid steps in our screen to let us know that our screen is properly exposed. We're going to use one screen today, and we're going to expose it 3 different times to get 3 different exposures. After we wash it out, we'll take a look at it, and then there's a calculator on the envelope that we'll use to do some math to really dial it in to get to that 7 solid steps that we're looking for. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to expose for 50 seconds. I like to take this Sharpie, and for reference, I'm just going to write 50 above it. Now, since we're exposing this screen 3 different times, we can't let any light hit it, so I'm using a piece of poster board here to block off the light and ensure that no light hits that part of the screen. I'm going to take this Sharpie, kind of draw me some guidelines here where this poster board was, and we'll expose this one for 50 seconds. That one's done. I'll take this out. We're going to move our strip on the other side of these black lines that I made, roughly the same spot. Now I'm just going to use 20-second intervals. So this one we're going to do for 30 seconds. Now, because this one's already exposed, that's why I have 2 sheets of poster board here. We're going to line this one up to the lines I already made, because we don't want that getting any more light than 50 seconds. And then we'll use this one here to cover up the other side. We'll draw our lines again. Now we're ready to expose. We'll expose this one for 30 seconds. All right, that one's done. Now we'll do our final exposure. Move this over to the other side of the screen. Here, we're going to do this one for 10 seconds. All right, our final exposure is done, so we can take the strip off of the screen. Peel the tape off. We'll take this over to the washout booth and wash it out and see what we come up with. All right, now we got everything washed out, and looking at the 50-second exposure time, we're roughly in the 13th step. So that's telling us we're a little bit overexposed. If we go down and look at the 10-second exposure, we're down below the 7th step, so we're a little underexposed. So let's look at the middle one here. The middle one here, we're at step 9. So let's go to the calculator and we'll use the math that comes on the envelope, and we'll see what kind of time we have, and we'll expose another screen and see if we can land on that 7th step. All right, now if we're going to use the middle exposure time, which was 30 seconds, and we know we were 2 steps above where we wanted to be, we'll go to the graph here and see what it tells us. If you want to decrease by 2 steps, it's telling me to take my original exposure time and times it by 0.50. So that's going to give us 15 seconds. Now let's expose a piece of artwork at 15 seconds and see if we can land on that 7th step. All right, now that we've got our image placed on the screen, we're going to throw this exposure calculator on there with it and expose them both at the same time. Don't worry, you can cover this exposure calculator up with tape before you start actually printing your job. These really come in handy for those of you who are using expo exposure lights with the bulbs, because over time your bulbs will weaken. So having this handy and throwing it on a screen every 20 screens or 50 screens that you burn, this will let you know that your bulbs are still putting out the same power they were before. All right, now that you know how to find your exposure times when exposing screens, be sure to like and subscribe for more tips from Todd.